I've got to plug the chart in. The December R-VII Board of Education meeting. Thanks for everyone for joining us in the room and online. At this time, we've already established a quorum, so I'm going to ask for a motion for the approval of the open session agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? And now I need a motion for approval of the consent agenda items.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Communication and reports.
Yes, we have one. Odessa R-VII, thank you for the lovely flyers. Mom always loved watching the kids at games and activities at OHS and was a big supporter of the school and all the staff, the family of Murray Grove. And that's all we have.
Thanks, Brian. Anything on your end, John?
No request for comment were submitted.
Thank you. Make It a Difference Award.
Yeah, this month I want to recognize, for December, I want to recognize our elementary instructional coach, Jenny Oxher. She was not able to attend tonight due to a prior commitment, but had several nominations from both elementary buildings. They went on to say she is always positive, has a great attitude and great enthusiasm for her job. She's always offering various ways and new ideas to teach students, continually checks in with teachers to see what she can do to help them, and has seamlessly integrated herself into the culture and climate of both elementary buildings. We did recognize her at a staff meeting at McQuarrie yesterday morning and featured her on social media as we have done in the past. So congratulations, Ms. Oxher. We'll get her the plaque as well, and her picture and plaque are hung in central office.
Excellent. The next item is the community champion.
Yeah, Mr. Madsen and his staff are here. If you want to come on up and if you want to present that to him. Congratulations to Thad Madsen State Farm Insurance. The organization has been chosen as the December Community Champion Award winner for the school district. Thad and his State Farm staff have been huge supporters of the school for several years. They regularly are first to support the students and the staff in whatever needs that we have. So on behalf of the school district, Thad and ladies, because we know the ladies are the ones that are doing all the work. Sorry, Thad.
No, that's right.
But thank you very much for everything you guys have done for the school and what you continue to do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Ed.
And again, we added that feature of central office where his agency is featured and highlighted as well, next to the Making a Difference Award winners.
Student recognition.
Yeah, we have a couple student recognitions tonight. We've got the Odessa Middle School card designers. This year, the district Christmas card was designed by Haley Fagan. The birthday card was designed by Carly Begeman. Ladies, if you want to come forward, we have cards for you, as well as a check for $25 for being selected as winners.
Good job. Nice work.
Thank you, ladies.
Okay, time for academic focus.
Yeah, we've got high school. Miss Bagshaw's going to do a little introduction with Mr. Collins.
Good evening. Tonight for our spotlight, we've got Gene Collins and Austin Ray and his students. They're going to highlight some of their SAEs of what they do in their agriculture experiences. It's an awesome opportunity for the students. So, Mr. Collins?
Mr. Ray?
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Hello, I've got Aubrey Ryder and Abigail Lett with me, and they're going to talk about their supervised agriculture experience and then answer some questions from you, I hope. Abigail, you're going to use this, and I think you're first.
I get the clicker. My junior year, I assisted my FFA chapter to grow and sell 300 mums in the school parking lot. This year, I grew 13,000 mums at home. I ordered plugs from North Carolina, and I planted them in the pots. I paid some of my other FFA members to help me. I order in May, then water and fertilize them all summer, making sure they are growing to the best quality possible. I make sure they are getting the right nutrients and are free of pests and disease. In September, they set beds and begin flowering in October. This year, I sold 435 mums to the school band. I also sold to other businesses, and I'm currently planning to expand my operation next year. None of this would have been possible without my amazing family and my ag teacher, Mr. Collins.
My essay consists of raising and caring for bees, and then selling the products that they produce. This is my frame of the bees This is a frame of my bees beginning to cap their honey so they can keep their honey protected. This is a frame that is covered in brood. Brood are all of the drones, which are males. There are also some honey getting put into parts of the comb. Lots of different things can happen inside of a beehive. Over half of this frame is covered in brood, a third of the frame covered by cap honey, and other parts scattered with nectar. This is how much honey I got by the end of my season. There are 8 frames in each box, and the bottom 3 were full of frames, and the top 3 were half frames. I am scraping the capping cover off of the honey frame so that I can begin the process of making the honey. Here I am filtering the honey so that it will be clean enough to put into the honey bottle. After all of my honey was complete, I had half a gallon of honey for the season.
That's just off one box? Just have one box?
There were 4 boxes on
4
there.
boxes?
One stack, though. There's a stack of 4 boxes on it, yeah.
And then the top orange box on the picture was mine.
Oh, I get you.
What was the biggest challenge that both of you guys faced during your production growing season?
I think that for me, the biggest challenge that I faced was finding time, which is crazy because in the summer you think we have all of the time. But this year I got to go to Washington for a leadership opportunity with FFA. And then I went to Public Speaking Academy. We went on our officer trip and all of that, and just still trying to find the time and still learning throughout my whole entire growth process. So that was most difficult for me, was the being patient, learning, and finding the time to figure it all out.
I think the biggest challenge for me this year was definitely there's a lot of things that can happen to my bees with animals, bacteria, overheating, and definitely controlling all of that throughout the year because it's my first year doing my own honey. That was definitely a lot more difficult for me.
Are your bees in hibernation? Is that
We're about to cover them up.
about to cover them up?
Yeah.
They'll stay here in Missouri for the winter?
Yeah, we cover them with tarps, and then probably around like April or May-ish, springtime, we'll get them back out in.
So do you leave some honey in there then so they can survive, or?
Yeah, so we leave honey in there, pollen and nectar for them, and then we put sugar for them at the top of the honey boxes.
Huh, that's cool. Unique. Have you ever gotten stung?
No, I have not.
Oh, really? Wow.
Not by honeybees.
Yeah.
And then Abigail, who did you rely on whenever you were trying to kind of troubleshoot how you should fertilize, how often you should be watering? Where'd you get that information?
So Mr. Collins actually worked in a greenhouse before he was an ag teacher. So everything I know is through him. So when we were having issues with that, I would just ask him, or he'd come over and check out the mums to do an SAE visit and make sure that they're growing right. And I also have to credit my mom because she was always there when I wasn't home to water. So we kind of figured it out together.
That's cool. Good stuff.
Mr. Collins, how many students do we have that do these projects?
We are working to develop good projects for every student. That is the goal. So we'd be at 100% of students in ag classes that have projects outside of school that do this. We aren't quite there. I think we probably have a third of the kids that have really high quality projects like the ones that you've seen tonight.
That's cool. Fantastic.
It is.
Congratulations on your successful
Yeah.
projects.
Absolutely.
And
I have-
business too.
Absolutely.
I have one request, Abigail. Next year, when you sell mums, if you could block my wife from the on Facebook.
I can't help. I think she like drives by and then it's just. I
Yeah,
can't
we
help
ended
it.
up with, more than
might-
just a few, like she said. I
There
think.
might be a price associated with that, Mr. Bradley.
Yeah, well, I guess if it's less than she spent on mums. I'll probably- Good stuff.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
I hope she's watching. Oh, yeah.
Go back to Joey.
Next up is the finance report.
Yeah, Kat wasn't here, wasn't able to be here tonight. She had a concert for her daughter, so I told her I'd fill in. So the final steps of the audit have been completed. Submission to DESE, which happened after the last board meeting, and then just today I got the information and submitted to the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. So it has been completed and submitted every year. The only other thing, this is the final year of our current audit bid. If you'll recall, or if you weren't on the board at the time, so you know, we do a audit bid for up to 3 years. So it's a 1-year bid with 2 additional options at the district's discretion. So we'll put that back out to bid, get those bids back in springtime sometime, and bring to the board a recommendation for an auditor. Could possibly, I know our current auditor is interested in we'll bid again, but based on the best bid, that's what we'll bring you as a recommendation.
John, maintenance report?
Yeah, so just highlight a few things that have been going on recently. Of course, winterized the athletic complex buildings, took some lockers out of one of the girls' locker rooms over Thanksgiving to make some more room in there for seating for them so they could have productive halftime conversations. So some of the oldest ones have been removed. Some new drinking fountains at Upper that had some mechanical issues. Roof leaks, Mike and the staff have repaired quite a few and have identified a few more that they're working on. Of course, with the weather changing, will depend on what the sunshine will allow for them to get up there and fix what they've found. Continue to work on exterior lighting, waiting on a few more. He's ordered a few at a time to work on that instead of the one large expense all at once, but waiting on a quote for 6 more of those currently. We've got a repeater upgrade we talked about a little bit, but the loaner has been installed. The company's got it here and up and going for us for our radios for the safety. Some touch-up painting's been done. And then other than that, currently working on details for baseball, softball turf that we've talked about a little bit. Should have some more information on that project at the upcoming meeting. But have some good information and conversations with them. So look forward to that.
Any questions on the maintenance report? Before we move on, the superintendent's report?
Yeah, just a couple quick things. Your building administrative reports are in your packet for review. Also, today was the first day of board sign-ups for the election in April. We had one individual come in and sign up, Brady Madsen. And then the last day of sign-ups is December 31st. The office will be open on that day from 3 to 5.
Okay. Move on to our discussion items, starting with the district APR.
Ms. Smith?
Right. So, district APRs were released to the public on November 25th, so I wanted to share Odessa's annual performance report, APR, how we scored, and thought it would be good to do a comparison between last year and this year. for the school district as a whole, and then also building by building. Oh, okay. Okay.
But they have it in there.
Okay, perfect. So you'll follow along with me. Sorry. So APR is essentially the state's accountability system to review how districts are performing. So we are on year 3 of MSIP 6 standards. So that is where these scores are coming from. So the first slide that you guys have, you see 2024, year 3, and then year 2 to 2023. The first year was a pilot year for the MSIP 6 standards. State testing was not mandatory, did not happen, so didn't feel like, it's not comparable data, so that's why we only have year 2 and year 3 on here. So overall, our APR score did unfortunately go down. In 2023, we scored a 78.2 overall, and for 2024, we scored a 68.2, so we went down quite a bit. The majority of where we lost those points were in our performance, and I'll get into kind of what the performance pieces is. The majority of it is how our students are performing on state assessments, as well as the growth that they show or don't show on state assessments. So overall, the majority of our points, again, we went down in performance. The next slide is our participation rates on those state assessments. Overall, our participation rates were up, which did help us a little bit. So we had more students tested, but our scores were not where we wanted them to be. So I'll go over building by building. McQuarrie, they scored 50% last year, 50% this year. They do not get performance points because kindergarten through 2nd grade do not participate in state assessments. So their scores are in continuous improvement, which include the kindergarten entry assessment. So we received both years all 4 points in giving all of our kindergartners that kindergarten entry assessment. And then we lost points on our attendance piece. So we'll find that a common theme throughout all of our buildings. We get points for having 90% attendance for 90% of our students here. So that is, I'll discuss it a little bit later, but an area of, we want to get our kids to school, and that kind of goes hand in hand with all the other things. So not really any change within McQuarrie. Upper Elementary, last year, their score was 61.3%. This year it did go down to 42%. All of our points went down in performance. So again, that was how our students performed on the MAP test. So math, ELA, and then 5th grade science. And then that also includes the growth from 2023 to 2024. We did not see the growth that we should have. And then we also went down a point in attendance. So we had less students in attendance last year versus 2023.
And that's the continuous improvement?
Yes, yes, sorry, yes. Then Odessa Middle School, last year they scored 72.2%, and then this year, 2024, was 45.1%. Kind of the same common theme as Upper Elementary. Their performance went down, so their scores, their growth, and then as well as attendance. Middle school got 0 points for their attendance this past year. So in that continuous improvement, that one did hurt us a bit. Also in middle school for continuous improvement, we got all 4 points for the ICAP, which is our 8th graders complete, and it basically sets them up for the path that they're going to complete in high school. So what are their long-term goals, and it puts them on the path of what courses they will need to be taking in high school. And then high school, theirs was the opposite of the other 3 buildings, so we'll celebrate that. In 2023, they scored 45.2%. Last year, they scored 60.2%. So we saw a jump in performance. We had more kids tested, and they tested well. I also found it interesting that in 2023, high school scored 0 points in performance for math and ELA, and this last year we scored 75% of points in those. So again, I think it goes back to we had all of our kids assessed, and they scored fairly well and saw growth. So that's a success. So what does all this mean for Odessa R-VII school district? So if we don't change anything, if we keep things the same, we're not going to see any change. Our results are going to be the same. So things that our district is already doing, we are going to be partnering with our Regional Professional Development Center for district continuous improvement. So Dr. Odinger and I met with the director of our central RPDC and one of the district continuous improvement coaches to kind of set up a overall plan. This is what we need. So long-term goal, we've got representatives from DCI. They're going to come in, they're going to get all of our data with us, help us sift through it. Using our CSIP, I'm going to steal what she said, our CSIP is like our car. So we've developed our CSIP, our car. So now we need to get plans to drive it. We need to get the map, we need to get the drivers, our staff to drive that. So how can we accelerate the implementation of all of our CSIP goals? And so DCI partnering with them are really going to help us put that acceleration piece on it. Something else that we can do is track attendance, because we've got to get our kids to school. When our kids are at school, they're learning, that boosts up our scores. So when our students aren't here, they're not learning, and we need them here. So we can track attendance. We want 90% of our kids to be here at least 90% of the time. So I have found a couple, I guess, spreadsheets, so to say. We can run reports on Infinite Campus, and Let's Catch Those Kids are just right there on the cusp. There are a couple buildings that have put in place incentives for families and students who are here at school to just reinforce the importance and reward the families, the parents, the kids for being here at school. Again, using our CSIP to create building improvement plans and goals to improve that achievement status. And with that, we've got to strengthen our Tier 1 instruction. At the elementary level, we have implemented, again, that ELA resource. We're piloting the math resource. Now is the time. We're not just focusing on K-5. We've got to get our Tier 1 core instruction in all core areas, K-12. So we've got a couple of things that we're going to be looking at for math, reading, science, social studies at the 6-12 level as well. So we're going to get our Tier 1 strengthened, getting our kids here. They're going to get quality instruction. We're going to get our teachers trained, the professional development that they need to be able to provide that quality, strong Tier 1 instruction. So we got lots of work to do, but we're ready.
I'm glad that you've been having discussions and what can be done on our end, because that's what
Yes.
starts is with us. And the drivers, like you said.
Yeah.
It's also, we need parents to understand the importance of getting kids to school. It's twofold. You get
100%.
counted if they're here, and then if they're not here, they're not learning. So,
Yes.
Question
it's
about
partnership.
the testing time in 2023 versus versus the year.
Right.
What was how close was it to the end of the school, and was it the last week of school versus 3
Correct.
weeks before? Is
Correct. And that could
what-
factor into performance. And last year was the first year also that we implemented iReady. And so it was difficult with our iReady. We have to test within the last 30 days. And then with your MAP test on top of that, it kind of all got crammed together. So we have developed in our assessment calendar kind of spreading those two assessments apart and flip-flopping. So we're going to do our state assessment first and then our iReady assessment, which is just here at the local level. So hoping that we can see a benefit from that. But that's a very good point.
Were all of the buildings not tracking attendance previously?
I think we track them and because we report them, but I think we can do a better job at making that part of like a routine and getting ahead of the game versus when it's too late and we've got those kids, they're already down at 85, 86, 87%. And so I've learned how to run that report on there so we can see if there's a kid at 89%, like calling the family, hey, like, is everything all right? Can we, what's going on? Can we help you? And then also the ones that are right at 90%, just stressing the importance, like they've got to be here. So.
Well, I remember Brad talking about that one time too. If it drops off quick, right? Those points, like if you drop to like 85, like 2 or 3 points are gone already out of the 4. So
the
it
threshold's
happens.
very tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's levels. there's
So
tiers.
we could be really close. Like, I mean, it could be one of those things where you get like 0 this year and then next year you get 4.
Yeah.
So
I think the name of that game is being proactive
Mhm.
in the tracking of it and following it closely.
Yeah.
mentioned DCI. Who's DCI?
So district continuous improvement, so it's through the RPDCs.
Okay.
And so,
That's all I need
Okay.
to know. That's
Julie
perfect.
Blaine,
Okay.
Julie Blaine
Yeah.
and Susan
Yeah.
Feedbacks, who came up to meet with us.
Okay.
and so they've got state representatives across the state.
Yep.
And we won't get, it won't necessarily be them that comes in every time, but other people of the same credential.
Understood.
Just depends on the scheduling. They will actually, one or both will be here in January to meet with our admin team.
Okay.
So that schedule worked out for sure. So, and then we'll see going beyond that.
I just wanted to make sure it wasn't like a private company.
No.
It's
No,
out of RPDC is,
yeah,
that's it.
yeah, meeting with them, I was super excited.
Which RPDC is an arm of the Department of
Yes.
Elementary and
Right.
Secondary Education, so.
How long does it take a student at upper elementary to take their mid-year I-Ready exam?
It's recommended that the assessment is done in 15 to 20-minute chunks. So on average, like right now, we just opened up our middle of the year testing window, and it's about 2 days. So with 20 minutes the first day, 20 minutes the second day.
Oh, that's not bad.
So
So it's a 40-minute exam.
40 to 60,
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
And then the map at the upper, how long?
The state sends out recommended timeframes on estimated times on how long they think it would be. So it ranges from, it depends on, because like ELA, fourth grade, they have 4 different sessions. And so the first session is 70 minutes, and then I know the last one is like 15 minutes. So it varies by session.
And they set that?
Yes, yes. And so whenever the buildings create their MAP test schedule, they allot the maximum amount of time that it takes, that they recommended that it takes the test. The test takes.
Is way more time.
Is there ever a possibility that DESI would revise the duration of their exams to kind of align with what I-Ready is doing with the shorter work?
There are a handful of districts in the state right now that are in, it's a Student Ready Success Network, so they're actually, I use the word piloting, using their I-Ready scores versus taking the MAP.
So they don't do it twice.
Yes. Eventually, down the road, perfect world, we would love that. So, I hope that's where we're headed. So it's not just on one test, it's the 3 throughout the year, so you
Yeah.
can see student growth.
And there are people who believe that maybe the MAP assessment is not the most appropriate measure of academic growth. So.
Well, and with I-Ready, we know what questions and content is going to be covered.
Exactly.
With MAP, it's like, it's
Right.
just kind of guessing.
Right.
Yeah.
So the state actually did just push out their testlets, they call. And so something that we're looking at implementing when we come back in January. So it's not a MAP practice test, but they are formative assessments based on priority standards. And so having teachers teach their unit on multiplication, there's a testlet we can give our kids that are MAP-like questions from the MAP test bank, just on like what that unit would be. So just getting our kids exposed to the MAP-like questions, the tools on the platform. So they're trying to give us things to implement to help our kids, so we're gonna take that.
And is the testing format the same for MAP and I-Ready in regards to how they're consuming the exam? Are they both digital?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah, the tools vary slightly. And then some of the formats of questions like drag and drop or short answer, things like that.
Okay.
But those would be the only real differences.
Sure.
Any other questions? Well, if there's any other things like the board
Mm-hmm.
that we need to be doing to help get to where we need to be, such as moving the calendar around, make sure you're
Yeah.
talking with John about that, so we can make sure we're getting all the support we can to you.
Appreciate it. We all do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is the school year calendar.
Yeah, included in your packet is a calendar that received the most support from the staff. 67% of those that voted for this calendar, total of 122 votes. This is just for review and discussion this month, and planning to bring it back next month for board approval.
I was curious if the staff would be in favor of the week-long spring break, but it appears they are.
And that's a first, because they've had that option every year, and since I've been here.
Yeah.
And they've never selected that.
It makes April and May kind of sparse with time off, but you have to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And really, we've been intentional. For example, that day in April, that Monday, the 6th, is a PD day that come in, and I talked about kind of doing test prep with, preparing our teachers for what they need to be doing with our students. So we put a lot of thought into it.
Yeah, I know it was a tremendous amount of work, so appreciate all the extra stuff you did on that to get all that input.
Is that PD day, April 6th, close enough to the testing window to give them enough? Is it, what am I trying to say? Is it close enough so that they'll still have that pertinent information in their minds when they get to testing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because it's going to be a good time for teachers to develop what do they want to do with that week and a half to 2 weeks before they start the testing with
Okay.
kids. I could envision, especially the teachers 3rd through 8th grade, maybe they're breaking down their classes, looking at the data of their classes to see what are some things that students need to focus on that we know what is going to be on the test. Kind of developing a tutoring session for things that they've not got.
It's one thing I really like about the pilot of, and it doesn't even have to be I-ready, but the idea that we're taking 3 snapshots throughout the year of our students on an assessment and measuring growth as opposed to a single isolated event that is top secret content.
Yeah, we don't get any of the information.
And by the time you get your data back in July, it's almost an autopsy.
And you don't know what's on it. You're trying
Yeah.
to prepare for it.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, guys, student academic growth is not a secret. It's, the more data you have throughout the year, the more likely you are to steer your ship in the right direction, right? If the Titanic had had some data, you think they would have turned?
oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
It's crazy to think about how much stuff builds off each other.
100%,
You don't know
Cole.
if they got it
100%.
until you get
Yeah.
some results in front of you. You could be teaching all year and they didn't get the
Yeah.
first thing you talked about. Any other?
It's amazing more superintendents aren't following.
Any more comments on the calendar for next year? That will come back as an action item next meeting. Next thing is staff interviews.
Yeah, so Dr. Fagan and I interviewed staff members with 20 years or more in the district. In addition, they were given a survey afterwards. The results of the survey were included earlier, obviously. Takeaways from the interviews included staff members feel they've been supported over the years, and that has made staying here very attractive when they feel that they're supported. The additional support staffing received several positive comments. Those included school resource officers in each building, the instructional coaches, process coordinators in each building, and the math interventionists. There were many comments that they appreciated and liked the small town community feeling of the district, the atmosphere, and the relationships that they were able to build because of all those things. So it's just a brief snapshot of the graphs or the interviews that we did. the graphs in there kind of show the responses to the questions, how they felt.
Any questions for John on the interviews? Not hearing anything. Next is the KTI sidewalk evaluation.
We have new news as of today, Dr. Fagan.
Yeah, so included in your packet is the evaluation report from KTI. So this has been provided to us as well as Excel. So kind of the two highlights, we were talking about different variables that affected the quality of that. In their opinion, the concrete experienced improper curing. They also noted that in their opinion, the icer treatment was not the cause of the surface degradation. So Excel has that. They have been in touch. It says that we haven't heard from Excel, and we actually did today. So they have been in touch with the concrete subcontractor, and they've asked for a week to look that over and come up with some information on how to remedy that. So we should be hearing something within the week. We'll get you information as we get it.
The expectation would be that the concrete company pays for the experiment or testing then, since it's their fault.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, Excel already paid for it.
Yes, so
Oh.
Excel, that was,
Okay.
They had requested if it was found to be our fault, would we reimburse them? And that's when I said
okay,
yes.
that's,
Okay,
yeah, I
But
forgot.
they've already paid for it
okay.
on the front end.
So, Raj, when you get into this litigation, are they just going to fix the spots right now? Is this a total replacement?
I read the report and it says that they tested some areas, I think, that weren't already
I
damaged.
read
And
that
it's,
too,
and it
but
said that there's gonna be further, it's gonna continue to
Yeah.
happen with freezing and thawing. They said
So,
100% it will
I
happen.
guess that's my question when they come back and when I said litigation, I'm sure they're gonna say that we'll fix here, 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 and here.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be several discussions about it.
Yes.
I'm sure.
Who was the concrete subcontractor again?
Epic,
Yes.
Epic.
How long do you think before we hear from them? Maybe a week or two or something?
They're supposed to get something back to Excel in a week.
Oh, okay.
They asked for a week to.
You probably said that already, didn't you? And I just
Yeah,
wasn't
that's
listening.
all right.
Slacker.
Yeah.
All right.
Did we backfill those holes that they,
Yeah, they filled them back.
They do that when they come. Yeah, they've got epoxy type stuff they fill them with. So more to that, more to come on that as we get it.
And I'm assuming, obviously we're gonna know in the next few months here, 3 or 4 months, we're probably gonna have more show up. And we have a lot of photos of what already exists, so
Yeah.
we'll know if it's gonna continue to happen.
We've got a lot of pictures and videos and.
Yeah.
I mean, it should be more of, it should be any panel that has it should be replaced with panels.
Yes.
You should not see a strip of.
Right. You can't create new panels.
Right.
Well, and it should be a situation too, like, if they say, well, we think this one's okay, if we haven't actually tested that specific area, if it becomes problematic over the next year or 2 or 3 years, 4 years, like, okay, you're coming back.
I think that's, we let them propose what they would like to do to remedy it, and we don't feel like they're contractually over their end of it, and push back.
And we'll keep you abreast of what that is as we go through that process.
Thank you, Roger. Moving to action items, super evaluation tool. Guess I'll talk about this one.
Yeah.
This is we talked about this. We had a session sit down several months ago to kind of talk about this superintendent evaluation tool. It was presented to you last board meeting. For any further questions, make sure we caught everything that we had discussed in that. Again, I think this will be an ongoing kind of development of this tool. We'll go through the process, we get it approved tonight, we'll have it in place so we can start using it in February whenever the calendar kind of kicks off on it. So if there's anything, I didn't hear any comments on it, anything we missed. If there is, let me know now. If we're good with it, then I'll need a motion to approve the superintendent evaluation tool.
So moved.
Okay.
All in favor? Desktop computer purchase.
Yeah, it's time for us to replace our staff computers. Logan has received 3 quotes, worked with 3 companies to get quotes, Brightspeed being the lowest. They're also who he has most recently been working with for our Chromebook and computer purchases, has had good success. Logan will probably be better to answer any questions, but either of us will be happy to answer any questions. We are recommending the purchase of the computers from Brightspeed, financing them with the company. You can see the terms of it are included. The interest on that is pretty minimal over the course of 3 years. This would come from our capital funds. We run 10 cents into the capital fund out of our levy. We would continue to do that. That would pay for about half of that, or probably 40% of what we run in there would pay for this annual lease payment for the next 3 years. This is how we did it when we purchased new desktops 5 years ago. We did the exact same thing.
So is this a purchase or a lease?
It's a purchase, but we're financing the purchase.
Logan, will they come imaged, or do you have to do that when they get here?
Yeah, we'll build the image and
Okay.
test it and everything, and then they'll do it at their factory and
Okay.
send it back. So we'll have very minimal hands-on when we go to deploy them this summer.
And we auction off the older ones that we do when we sell them.
How do you dispose of those?
Yeah, we'll probably have to discuss what to do with them. I mean, we would remove the hard drives and,
Yeah.
secure that and then determine what to do with them.
I see. Is there any value in them or not really?
Not really.
Oh,
Because, yeah, we bought them 5 years ago, but they were even off-lease units then, so they have
Oh,
even
so they
more
weren't new.
miles on them than that.
Yeah.
So,
I understand.
but we
Getting
have
someone to recycle them for free is the goal.
Yeah, that might be.
And we do have that resource, which is nice. So at least we won't have to pay someone to take them.
Yeah.
If that's what it comes to.
Every spring, county has an e-waste
Yeah.
day.
You'd fill the trailer up.
You
I might
might,
just bring the trailer here.
Yeah.
Donation at the OHS. Do teachers still want a desktop or?
A lot of them.
Okay.
And they've got Chromebooks too,
Okay.
but, yeah, a lot of them still do.
I've-
We've got
I've used a laptop
workstations.
for-
This will also include our administrative assistants across the district too, and any of our workstations that we have, with the exception of our programs, business programs here in the high school. And we've replaced those in the past through 50/50 CTE money, and we'll look to do that again as well.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve the new computer purchase with Brightspeed.
Second?
Motion second, thank you. All in favor? Motion carried. Next is our music insurance renewal.
Included in your packet is the invoice renewal information. You'll see, as we've discussed before, the substantial increase in the premium. However, that's primarily because of the increase that we did to the building values. If you'll remember, our buildings were what we thought was way undervalued. We've increased those substantially, which contributes to the increase. Just kind of as an example, last year, like Upper Elementary, they had valued at 14 million. Now it's just shy of 21. The high school, they had valued at 24 million. Now it's 41 million. So those kinds of increases see a large jump in premium. But now we'll be able to replace things if we have major catastrophes to the buildings.
we didn't have a whole lot of claims experience, did we? I mean,
We did not. but there was, part of that increase is storm related in other parts
Okay.
of the state that the group saw
Okay.
increases of, yeah.
Well, I like seeing the assessed value closer to replacement cost.
Yeah. 100%.
Do we have this in the budget, an extra $200,000?
Well,
Yes.
Just going.
you're not here, that's easier. We'll know more when she does her budget revision. But we have to do this.
Of course, I'm just saying,
Right.
where are we gonna pull from?
And it might come from our reserve, you know, it very possibly could increase a deficit budget for this year, which was already approved, but, again, sure enough, if we identify this and we don't fix it, then something bad's gonna happen,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
You can pay a higher premium and reduce your reserve balance by 0.6%, or have a significant claims loss and spend your reserve.
Plus, yeah.
Yeah. I do hate when things cost more than.
200,000.
Yeah. That's a penny or two.
I make a motion to renew the insurance coverage with music as presented.
Second.
Motion a second, all in favor? Thank you. Upper elementary parking lot repairs.
Speaking of budgets and improvements, so we solicited bids for pavement work at Upper Elementary, so would include full depth replacement of portions of the lot, and then with the majority of it being a 2-inch mill and overlay, but it does impact the entire lot, plus a corner on the back bus loop that is having some pothole issues as well. So 2 bids, got one from Advanced Asphalt and one from Cat Excavation. So recommendation is to approve the Advanced Asphalt bid of $135,508.
Roger, when do you want to do this?
So we'll do it in June.
Okay.
Actually, part of that, part of this, what you're approving is the agreement also that the bidders got when they got it, of here's when the timeline is, here's
Okay.
when. So we've given them you can't start, I think it said you have to start before like June 9th or
Okay.
So it's
something.
June 9th.
Basically the month of June, so it's.
And completed
it's,
by July
yeah.
25th.
So that price does include striping as well. It does not include if some of it gets milled and there's cracks, or if we find when we dig out, we need to dig further and put in,
Unsuitable
put in
soils.
some more rock. We do have unit pricing for that, so we know what it'll cost if it comes to that. But that's not included in the 135, so. But we do have a price for that too.
It's good we got a price for that.
Yeah.
And that would come back as a change order. It would likely be something that would have to be done in advance, which I would notify Cole, but would come back for board approval. Definitely if there's an additional cost.
I make a motion, we approve the bid with Advanced Asphalt paving up Green Valley.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carried. Out-of-state student travel request.
This is for middle school target students. They're going to attend a competition in Topeka in January.
I make a motion to approve the out-of-state student travel request.
Second.
All in favor? That concludes our agenda. And a motion to conduct a closed executive session, including any record or vote at the next scheduled meeting pursuant to statutes contained in Chapter 610.021 RSMO.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Roll call.
Aye.
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 And aye. No, I'm sorry, we're not going to adjourn that. Let's go back and Opposed?